Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The guys are here, the chat is ready, and the conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with another rendition of the live Pound for Pound. Joined by my main man, Mike Dub over here. And our other two guys might be joining us as we get this stuff going, as we get this stuff kicked off. We're, as always, have some form of technical issue one way or the other. Jimmy is back, but he's having some issues on his side. And if I'm not mistaken, Toby is on his way home trying to get on with us. He's got a long commute nowadays, so we might be changing up our schedule depending. Anyway, so Big Mike, man, what's going on with you, brother?
Hey, man, first of all, like I said, man, I kind of get giddy this time of year, JR, because, I always look at the grass getting cut outside. Yep. And when I smell a little bit of the cut grass, it kind of gives me the feel that, like, I don't know, it just, when you play football, man, sometimes smelling fresh cut grass just kind of gets you excited to let us know that, season getting real close, training camp getting real close. And, I think with us having access to possibly be able to watch some practices, I couldn't be more excited because, I do know that this is a year where don't have a lot of expectations on us. I don't think there's a lot of people picking us to be much of anything, right? So I think it's the time of the year where, we can start to really focus on some of those storylines and just see how these storylines play out, man. But, hey, a lot going on right now, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now, as far as you talk about practice and then, you bring it up like training camp and stuff like that. For all y'all who are watching this right now, they're doing something a little different this time around with training camp. You have to claim your tickets. Like they're free to go to Flowery Branch, to go to training camp, but you still have to go through the process of claiming them. I guess they're trying to get a better idea of how many people are going to show up, day to day. So if you haven't claimed your tickets, make sure that you follow the steps to do that. Me, myself, I know I will be up at training camp the first weekend that it's available, which I believe is the 20, it's the last weekend of July going into the weekend of August. So somewhere around in there, the first open weekend, I know I'm going to be there Saturday, and I may also be there Sunday too, just depending on what I want to do. And now I know that the vast majority of the Pound for Pound crew will be at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the open practice that they have at the stadium. We've secured tickets, and as long as nothing comes up, we will all be there. So if y'all decide to go to the open training camp at Mercedes-Benz, make sure y'all keep an eye out for us. We'll probably be posting more information about that the day of. But yeah, I mean, this is our time of year, right? This is the time of year where things start to get real. We start to look at like training camp battles. We start to look at how this season may shake out. If y'all have been watching the channel, we've been doing like deeper dives into stuff like 12 personnel. Mike, you took a look at some like free agents that were still out there, which we'll get into for various reasons. We're definitely going to get into that this evening. But Jimbo, he come back and did his Ask Jimbo. So we're still getting that content out there for y'all. But yeah, like I said, it's really starting to heat up for us. So I guess we have dodged the elephant long enough. We have a roster spot open because I think we have finally figured out what Barkevious Mingo things are. Then we had that interview earlier in the offseason, and when that coach said Mingo things, we were like, what is Mingo things?
Yep. I guess
we found out what Mingo things are.
I would definitely say that did not age well. And,
no.
I think that what's crazy is I'm glad we're talking about Bart, right? Because, some years the loss of Barkevious Mingo would be, it'd be difficult, I would say, because, we just need edge rushers with some sort of experience right now. We are a team starving with edge rushers, right? And to have an edge rusher, to make these type of decisions. Again, not a lawyer, not a judge or none of that kind of stuff. That's not our thing or whatever. But I do know that, to your point, it creates an opening on this team. Right, wrong, and different. We are here to talk about this opening, right? So I do think that the question is now, and this is really a chance, pound for pound, family, where, in the chat, right? That opening of Bart Mingo. Justin Houston is the elephant in the room. That's the guy I would, pound the podium right now. Justin Houston is a guy that I want. If we couldn't get a Justin Houston, who are the guys that you'd like to see most practical, that could fill that spot? Is it a Steven Nelson? Do you, because he's a corner that's young, that's out there. What direction do we go? Do we want to add another, corner? I think that it does give us a chance to be more competitive as a team. And we don't have much cap space, with the little bit of cap space that we do have, it's a chance for us to get better. And we're a team that needs to get better at definitely at the edge position.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
There's plenty of places that we need to get better at. Like you've already had two pieces of not so great headline news, right? Obviously, you've had the the Bark Mingo thing. You never want to be having a headline this time of the offseason. Generally, this time of the offseason, if your team's making headlines, it's not for good things, right? And so, we definitely not necessarily wanting the headline right now, but you couple that with the Matt Gano stuff going down, like that injury that seems like it may not be a season ender, but he definitely isn't going to be a part of training camp or a part of the first part of the season. That is that lets you go, look at, okay, do you want to go offensive lineman? Do you want to go edge? Do you think we need another corner? There's still a handful of questionable spots on this roster that I think we could go in various different directions. Right now, the big rumor is I think we might have Jimmy back. Nope. You still got a lot of static, Jimmy, if you want to try to fix that. Anyway, all right, so let's just go to this top list here that I pulled up right before the show started. You got Steven Nelson is still out there, cornerback, 28 years old. I think they're going to try to figure out what they got in Fabian Moreau first to see if he can pair with AJ Terrell. But you got Mitchell Schwartz out there. If you think that you might want to move McGarry into guard or something of that nature, you could bring him in as a tackle. David DeCastro, depending on what his ankle is doing, that's the reason why, Pittsburgh let him go, was because they wasn't sure what his ankle was going to do. So wasn't sure, if he was going to retire or not. But as you stated, the big name edge rusher right now is either Melvin Ingram or Justin Houston. Both of those guys are on, they're on the wrong side of 30, right? Both of them are 32 years old. If you're signing either one of them, it's for a shorter deal, a 2-year deal at most. So, is a guy like Justin Houston, is he willing to take that kind of a deal, a cheaper deal, to come in and, potentially play for us, his hometown team, or is he looking to catch on with a contender? That's kind of more of a guy in his, where he is in his career, he might be more wanting to try to catch on with somebody who thinks can contend, right away, Right.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? You really can't blame him because I think he's been a guy that's been really productive. But you're right, though. I think that, I will focus on this, though. I do think that, let's say, hypothetically, we do pull out the big fish. Mm-hmm. We do get Justin Houston.
Right.
We bring him in, we make him Falcon, right? I would say, JR, personally, that would say more about Terry Fontenot and his overall approach, right? Because actually, let's kind of talk about this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at what our next free agent move is, because it's kind of that final piece. It's not that whoever we bring in will bring us to the playoffs or not, but it's kind of that final piece of where do we have holes, right? Where are there gaps, right? Because look at it like this, right? Let's go back to David DeCastro. I think he would be fantastic at the left guard position, and he would solidify our offensive line. But I also think that there's not really a role for that. Would say there's really not a role for Mayfield right now. There's Josh Andrews is kind of just holding a spot, right? And it's really more of a leakier situation than we're led to believe. But I do think right now in the offensive line, not that we're just in great position, but we really don't have to touch the offensive line right now. It'd be nice to bring in one of these guys, Mitchell Schwartz, move McGarry over, but it just seems like the edge rushing position. Because let's look at it right here, right? Like if Dante Fowler fails to produce again, we're gonna be in shambles. And here's the problem: all of the quarterbacks in the NFC South have too quick of a release not to have a pass. Like they won't even look at us on the schedule if we don't have a formidable pass rush with these quick release quarterbacks that we have to see at least twice a year. And Sam Darnold, for as much flack as he gets as the Panthers quarterback, he also, he can get the ball out of there as well too, and he might be somebody to watch with maybe better protection, maybe better play calling from, a Matt Rule, maybe a better defense. And the Panthers, these are things where it's like, what's interesting is we pay a lot of attention to the Bucs, but we really have to ask ourselves these questions. With the way this team is constructed right now, how on par are we to compete with the Saints, compete with the Panthers, compete with the other guys outside of TB12? That's really what's going to tell the story of this 2021, 2022 Falcons.
Like the more I, sit here and look at it, the more my expectations for this team is like, I just want them to be competitive. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want them to show, just like it's the same deal I had when Quinn first got here. It's the first year. I'm not expecting, miraculous turnarounds. Okay. I mean, it could happen. Sure. The Browns hired a new staff and they got into the playoffs, but a lot of stuff has to go right for that to happen. You do have some question marks in, like, what are the Saints going to look like offensively? What are the Panthers going to look like offensively? They're in a similar position, but for different reasons. You have, different heads as far as like the play, the quarterback position, for both teams. So, that does bring up some uncertainty there for them. But yeah, right now what I'm looking for as far as this team goes is like consistency. Can y'all, can they put together a consistent game plan? Can they come out and play with, if they get up on it, on a team in a game, can we close out a game? Like these are the things that I'm looking for. And as far as like who would I want to help this team? Like, I like Justin Houston and I like that he's a very productive player. But as Ghost Pepper has already brought up in the comments, I would almost rather the Kamala Cora, Camila, somebody who has some familiarity with Dean Pease and who's 28 years old. So you could sign him for 3 or 4 years and kind of build with him, so to speak, as a rotational piece, where I feel like if you bring in a Justin Houston, you're playing on borrowed time there. I mean, he's already 32 years old. Yes, he's been productive and shown no reason for him not to continue to be productive. But it's a thing where I feel like, his time is obviously shorter than Cora's time. So that's kind of where, like, if we're bringing in anybody, I'm wanting to bring in a guy more like that myself.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you this. I do think that, and again, this is where I might even disagree with myself after the show, after I say this, so I know I might get some disagreements. But I got to say it because I just had a thought that came to my mind. I do think, the interesting thing about this Falcons team is, and again, do not go left with this reference, but they do remind me a little bit of the Phoenix Suns from the standpoint that they do have Matt Ryan is still a veteran, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, he's not Chris Paul, any of that kind of stuff, but Matt Ryan, just like a good point guard, is able to put people in position, right? And this is actually a little bit interesting from the standpoint that this Falcons team has enough young players who may not even understand the gravity of the situation at hand, right? So I do think that if this team is led right, which again, it goes back to Arthur Smith, it goes back to, his philosophy, it goes back to Dean Pease. If this team is truly able to, play hard for their coach and be led by Matt Ryan, and we play good run defense, you know what I mean? We play good ball control offense. I do think that's why, and maybe I'm going too in the weeds right there. I do feel like that's why we need we're going to need somebody to put pressure on this quarterback, like on the quarterback, because I do feel like, let's start talking about it. We will have more explosive plays with Kyle Pitts on the field. I do think we will have the ability to possibly score a little bit quicker with Kyle Pitts on the field, even with all of the Mike Davis, that type of stuff. So, we just need somebody to get pressure on this quarterback. I'm banging the gavel for an edge rusher. So.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, and we're gonna keep getting into that, but I want to go ahead and jump into this chat here and see. All right, so Woom Carter says, "Rise up, pound for pound family. It's been a long 2 weeks. Glad you're here tonight." Yeah, and that aspect that's also coming to, kind of an end. Like once training camp kicks off and we get stuff to talk about each week, like new stuff, we'll probably go back to our weekly schedule. But like I said, there just hasn't been a ton to talk about. We end up like coming in on here and saying the same things over and over again. Andrew Botto says, "What's good, fellas? Happy Wednesday. Hope y'all guys are doing well." Yeah, I hope y'all are doing well too. I'm glad y'all decided to join us tonight. Maurice says, "Hey, P4P family. Glad to see y'all back live." Thank you. Glad to be back live. Same thing from King and Ghost Pepper. King says he'll be at the stadium for the open practice. Good. Like I said, we might try to meet up at least around the stadium, after the practice or something. Who knows? We're going to kind of get into all that as we get a little closer. Tony Wright says, "What's good, pound for pound family?" He said, "How's it going, JR and Mike?" Going pretty good. William Paul says they ain't lost anything, talking about Mingo. And in a sense, like somebody, it was one of the talking heads, Andrew Brandon or something like that, put out a tweet that said, obviously the talent didn't outweigh the headache. And that is a, common like thought process is depends on how talented you are to how much crap we're going to put up with. Right. And with Barkevius Mingo, yeah, he's a good solid rotational player, real good like safety or not safety, but special teams guy, but he doesn't have the talent worth dealing with the PR nightmare of messing with little children. Doesn't have that at all. So,
and absolutely not how we want to start this off. So it's just one of those where hey, we got to move forward business though.
That's
absolutely.
it. Yep. Let's see. False Start Falcon says, "I don't think McGarry will start unless he shows up in camp. He seems like the odd man out. I don't know. I don't like his play, but maybe that was the wrong scheme." That's what's going to be interesting. I mean, McGarry did struggle, like straight up. His first 2 years, he is, he has struggled, but, is it more of the play call, play style? Is it, there's a lot of reasons why he could struggle, but then there's a lot of reasons why with a new regime, he may refocus his efforts and step up. But you're right. With Gano going down, Mayfield has been, Jalen Mayfield has been taking reps at right tackle, I think, to set himself up for that swing tackle position, which I felt like they felt like at bare minimum, that's what Gano was going to hold down, Right. So if he ends up showing up and showing out and playing better than McGarry could be inheriting that swing tackle position and riding the bench. So who knows like how that ends up, playing out.
That would be, if McGarry rides the bench, then that speaks more on the previous regime. But again, we're not going backwards there.
No, I mean, we can't. Like at this point, you can't. So
Yeah.
I think we might actually have Jimmy.
Can you hear
in
me?
there.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Oh,
No
here we
static.
go.
No static.
Okay. Let's see.
No static. No
There we
static.
go. All right. So
There you go.
we at least gonna try for a little bit there. That was some interesting. Everybody, welcome Jimbo back from his 4-way out. Where were you at? Fort Knox.
Oh, Fort Knox. Yeah. Love Fort Knox, but I had to go.
You were guarding all that gold, huh?
Yeah. I'm looking out for it on the third hole. I was watching out for it. No question about
watching
it.
out for that. Yes.
Hey, glad to be back.
I'm sure. Bro, I'm sure.
Hey, glad to be back. Glad to be back with y'all guys on the live, man. I miss y'all. Believe it or not, I did. I miss those pretty faces.
There you go.
Not too much been going on, but enough been going on, fellas. I like it.
Yeah, we got a little bit of stuff going on. Now, a name that the chat keeps bringing up, and I've seen brought up a handful of times on Twitter, is Olivier Vernon. Now, Olivier Vernon, to me, he's a guy who I would be a little more interested in the age standpoint. He just is 30. So you could potentially get, probably 4 or so years of play out of Vernon. I think he got overpaid coming out of Miami to be something that he wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't your number one rusher, right? But what Vernon is like super solid on the run and can also give you some pass rush. Now he's a guy who I feel like you could kick down inside as well as play him outside. So, he would add to that versatility that Dean Pease seems to like, and could potentially come at a decent price, given that he has made as much money as he has, in a sense of like robbing folks for what they gave him. But
it was a lot of people in Ohio some money, but that has nothing to do with the Browns and us. That's between him and the Browns. But I will say this though, Olivier Vernon, his kick down ability is interesting because I do feel like where I'm most confident our pass rush might come from, and we don't talk about it a lot, is that, again, outside of Deion Jones, the linebacker position, meaning between, I think, Foyer Luakan, Michael Walker, Brandon Copeland, those guys are going to be put in position to blitz more.
I think so.
Where outside different ways to get those guys active, but I do think having a guy like a Vernon could potentially give us some value because what we need is we need some pass rushers. But man, if they're good against the run too, we really need that as well too because it's still make or break for Marlon Davidson. Having the greatest camp ever is the most overused expression in the Atlanta Falcons. Listen, that man, I remember when Jamal Anderson, the defensive end, had one of the camps.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jim.
Look, I think it all really boiling down to camp. This new regime haven't had a full camp, full practice yet. Mm-hmm. So once because they really kind of banking on people that they inherited,
Right.
So you kind of want to see what they got. I mean, you was on other NFL teams going through all those drafts. So at some point, you probably evaluated the guys that you inherited. So you probably want to see what they got in the camp. And I mean, I want to say this, man. The first 2-3 days of camp, you're going to see a lot of cutting and a lot of bringing in, I think, because they really want to see what they got first. Because, I mean, without past these guys looking up the par, but, once you put your scheme in, and the pads come on, you put the children and women to bed when the pads come on, and it's time to go out and do some hunting. And I think they ready to see if these guys got what they think they got, and if they don't, you're going to see a lot of cutting and a lot of letting go really fast and a lot of bringing in a guy that you probably would have been like, I told you so. And they probably don't want to do I told you so, but they just might have to. They're going to have to wait to camp before they start bringing other people in and letting people go.
I agree, which is why when we go back to free agents, I do think, and he wasn't a guy before the show that I think I had on the radar like this, but I think the player with the most to gain when pass comes on is Jalen Mayfield. You know why? Because
right. See, yeah,
you're right. We hear him swing tackle here,
guard there,
here.
Yeah.
He is a guy that when he puts a helmet on and he gets in the mode and he gets to put his hands on people, he is going to be a guy that we are going to watch. I think that He is too good for a team that's still a little shaky on the offensive line. Josh Andrews, I give him the Matt Gano treatment. It goes back. I wish Toby D was here because Toby think about Matt Gano, and I said, Toby, I've heard this 3 years in a row. Third year, Matt Gano is the first team training. Again, Jalen Mayfield's going to be a guy that I'm really going to keep my eyes on because, hey, he's one of those rare guys that actually wanted to be a Falcon way back when, who's kind of living out his dream. Watch a guy like that. He out of 10-year starter.
No, that's it. Right. And so, yeah, with that being said, you're right, Jimmy. When the pads come on, that's when we really going to start seeing – that's when we're really going to, like, start, figuring out if guys like JTM step up and step in a role. Guys like Kaminsky, do they carve themselves out of role? I mean, you might get a week into camp and Dean Pease go, you know what, I can work with what we got. We don't necessarily need to add, a rusher because I think at one point in time on Tennessee, I believe his first year there, to your point earlier, Mike, linebackers led in pressures and sacks and stuff like that, because that's the way Dean Pease was dialing it up.
Yep.
But I'm going to jump back in the chat here real quick. Maurice says, hey, Jimmy, do you see any veterans being cut within the first week of training camp? So I guess I'm going to spin it. Like, is there like somebody who would be like an early surprise cut, I guess you could say?
And I mean, oh man, at least I'm going to put it like this. Anybody that inherited, that's a veteran that this new regime had to accept from the last guy, beware. And I mean, but your Deion Jones, your Grady Jarrett, the Jake Matthews and the Matt Ryans of the world, the Kevin Ridleys.
Right.
You probably don't really have to worry about those guys, but those guys that was kind of like subpar. And I heard y'all in the show earlier talk about like a Caleb McGarry. Yeah. You kind of got to watch for a guy like that. Some of these guys just might be sitting there and thinking they got something, but they really ain't going to be hitting on. And these some of your veteran guys now, you need to watch out. Like, okay, Sheffield, Mike, your guy, you need to watch out for a Sheffield because Sheffield, you could be on the block. You could possibly get cut. So these guys really going to have to show up and show the new regime they are who they think they are, because if they not, you might see that knife it's going to be almost instantly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now.
No, I'm
gonna tell you
go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you my surprise guy straight up right now.
What's up?
And we just re-signed him, and it's Tyler Davidson. I don't know if we re-signed him this year or before.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I'll be honest with you. When I look at the Taquan Griffins, I look at their body types, right? The tweeners, hey, we got more tweeners now.
Oh God, man, we can almost fill a whole roster of tweeners.
We got tweeners everywhere, right? So Tyler Davidson, splashy, not sexy, right? You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, I got to talk about it because it's on my head, JR, and I really want to know from you. This Jacob TM, man, we don't talk enough about
dude.
What do you, like, we saw it. I mean, he showed up on film, and I think that, with him being back in the fold and, we prioritize this guy, we don't talk enough about this guy. Because he could be an X factor. Because if he shows up, what does that mean?
That's trouble, yeah.
No, dead up.
Go ahead,
guys like JTM, like I said, guys like Kaminsky who, haven't yet really gotten their footing because of guys like I'm drawing a blank, like Alan Bailey and some of them other late ads were like blocking some of those guys from playing. Like it could be a deal where they may just take this year to go, all right, let's see what we got. We're going to save our cap money, roll over as much as we can into next year because we still got cap issues, still got people you got to sign next year, stuff like that. So they may just be wanting to roll as much in as possible next year. So you might not see him add much of anything because, you got to start cutting down pretty quick anyway. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see if these like former bit players can find some footing under this new regime. Under this new coaching staff. I'm super stoked to see how Dean Pease uses a guy like a Michael Walker who played a lot like Isaiah Simmons in college. Like he played all over the field. He played linebacker, defensive end, safety. He's a very versatile player. So that's one thing in my, study of Dean Pease that I've been doing over these past few weeks. He covets that versatility. I don't know if any of y'all saw that tweet that I put out, of Dean Pease talking about how he used Rodney Harrison up in New England. Rodney Harrison allowed them to be super flexible, because Rodney Harrison would on one down would play linebacker, on another down would play safety, on another down would be out there covering somebody in corner or blitzing. So
hey, but JR, who was that same guy? He used the guy the same way in Tennessee. Who was that guy?
Logan Ryan, straight up.
Logan Ryan. There you go. There you go.
And all this in a sense is leading up to, I'm going to be putting out another video this weekend, focusing more on going in depth with the 4-2-5 defense that Dean Pease likes to run, his nickel, the way he likes to run nickel. Y'all keep your eye out for that, because I'm going to go into, deeper detail there. All right, well, let's get back into chat some. Let's see, where did I leave off at? Okay, this is NDY talking about after Vic situation, obviously Michael Vick. People shouldn't underestimate how much this town hates bad headlines. No tolerance for that. Maybe try New Orleans or San Francisco. I will say this, as soon as that broke, Twitter was straight up okay, get this man off my team. There was no chill, man. There was absolutely no I didn't see hardly anybody saying, oh, well, we need to figure out, wait to see. No, we ain't waiting to see nothing. You got to go, my man.
Versus his lawyer, because his lawyer was the only person that.
Oh, yeah, his lawyer was the only one, yeah. Tony Wright said,
that's the first time I seen Twitter on the same page about something instantly.
Oh, yeah, instantly. Just this man got to go. Tony Wright says, glad you're back, Jimmy, and great show last Saturday. Yeah, if y'all ain't y'all ain't caught on with Jimmy's Ask Jimmy, that's a great show. It's a great segment. It's a great way to get your voice heard, which is one of the things that we are about here on this channel is trying to get everybody this is a community. We're trying to talk and have a good chat, and that's yet another way to go about doing that is to submit those questions to Jimmy, because he does a real good job going into that. Joe Houston just tipped us $5. Thank you, Joe. So what's up, guys? Do you think the offense will look more like Matt LaFleur or Sean McVay running inside zone / outside zone? Okay. What I think this offense is going to look a lot more like, and I have got a video for you, sir. If you want to go back and check out the 12 personnel video I did, I think that's going to be heavily used, because that allows us to be very flexible. In 2020, last year, in 2020, Arthur Smith threw out of 12 personnel more than anybody. So a lot of times when you look at 12 personnel, it's viewed as a run package, because you get the extra tight end in there. Generally, it's for blocking, open up holes, so on and so forth. Well, with Janu Smith and Anthony Fisker, Arthur Smith was calling a ton of throws out of there. Now he's got an upgraded version of that with Hayden Hurst and Kyle Pitts. So I just can't see him not using it. You know what I'm saying? So myself, I think it's going to be a good mix with whatever fits Mike Davis as your lead back. If Mike Davis seems to be his vision, if it lends better to outside zone, I would imagine that's what they'll go with. But if his vision seems to lead more towards inside zone, and if that meshes well with the what the construction of the offensive line is, I would imagine it would be more inside zone. But I tell you this, it's going to be zone running, and it's going to be 12 personnel. That's my prediction.
What's funny is I might mildly disagree from the standpoint that I think that two things. Sean McVay copied Arthur Smith because he said it, not the other way around.
Yep.
But I also think that LaFleur, right? Let's look at LaFleur, and you look at, LaFleur was with Tennessee studied with Arthur Smith. They're good buddies. But I think I would go more LaFleur because look at the way LaFleur uses personnel in Green Bay, right? Look at a Ty Montgomery. Looks eerily similar to a Cordero Patterson.
Could
you
be.
know, you look at or you look at the tight end. Look at the way they use Jimmy Graham. You know, with Aaron Rodgers, a lot of short throws as well too. Short game was like impeccable, and they had the Devontae Adams. They had the deep play receiver. And not saying that, you know, we're gonna mimic what the Packers did, but I think that if you look back at some of the Packers and the way he's put those guys, those offenses in position, just with personnel, you know, again, we have some of the same type of personnel because it might be a game where we might be able to actually win a game by just putting Cordell Patterson on screens or dumping the ball out to him and letting him use his talent. Because it's happened. He's going to win a game for us. I don't know when it is. I don't know if we'll be two. But he might win.
Look, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and call it in this like part of the season. I am more times than not. I forget Cordell Patterson's even on this team. I just don't. I guess because my brain will not accept that he's being played as a running back. Like all I see Cordell Patterson as is a return man. But
they never saw Montgomery as none either. And for a while there, you know, they played to his strengths. And again, like literally, as a Georgia Bulldogs fan, I literally watched the Florida Gators beat us. Other than with Kyle Pitts with one route, it was a running back running the wheel route right up the sideline, and nobody could cover him. Nobody could no linebacker could get that unreleased running back coming out of the flat, moving up. You know what I mean?
Right.
We need that time because if you look at this team for as much as they've written us off, we actually have more matchup. We can match up better with teams now than we have in previous years. Like, even defensively, look at the linebacker position, right? You look at a Mykal Walker, great in coverage. Deion Jones, great in coverage. Foy Oluokun, great in coverage, right? So, yeah, you want to spread it out a little bit more? You can use Mykal Walker as a blitzer. You can use him in coverage. We got a Swiss Army knife there. Again, that's why I think that, like, this is a team, man, I'll be honest with you. Like, I think we would do better than people are. It's just because it's laughable. I looked at the power rankings. We're like 20.
Oh yeah, we down there. We down there.
Yeah. We down there.
And I don't know if any of y'all like follow Warren Sharp on Twitter or even look at like Sharp Analytics. He on his website he breaks down a lot of stuff. Well, this year is the first time I've ever I bought his book that he puts out every year and. Like I'm looking at like what like things that he's saying about the Falcons and how things were used last year and what they expect this year, and I can't get over about the guy who shall not be named, like how much I feel like he absolutely killed this offense. Right? Didn't do nobody no favors. Running game no favors. Nobody no favors.
Yep.
Like if it wasn't Julio Jones or Calvin Ridley, it wasn't working. You know, and this supports my theory that he's of an old school mindset of my guy's just gonna beat your guy, and that's how we gonna play. And if he don't beat your guy, so be it. We'll move on to the next down kind of thing. But that's what makes me so excited about Arthur Smith, seeing what he did up there in Tennessee. You know, like his infusion of what. You know, allowing Derrick Henry to be Derrick Henry, you know, and feeding him that ball, you know, and playing to the strengths of Ryan Tannehill, you know, and making him a legitimate potential top 10 quarterback in this league when he was nothing but an afterthought, you know, until, Smith got a hold of him. So, you know, that's like, those are the things that make me like, excited to see what this team does. Again, I don't think that there is much on what this team's going to do like this year per se. What I'm looking for this year is to see them gelling, them coming together. How does the game look? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't want my guys out there looking lost and stuff like that. So that's more what I'm looking at and looking for. Let's jump back into the chat here. We got Tony Wright says the bad headline players usually end up in Dallas, New Orleans, or Las Vegas. Yeah, we'll see. At this point in his career, I don't think Mingo is going to end up anywhere. So we got Ray Station in here. He says, "What's up, y'all? This is Fleek from the Twitter Spaces with Adam and JR." Yeah, it's cool, man. I'm glad to see you in here with us tonight, Fleek. Yeah, if y'all ever,
Fleek.
the friend of the show, Adam Holloway, he does those spaces quite a bit on Twitter, and if y'all ever get a chance to jump in there, it's just some good conversation. Let's see. Floyd Donnelly says Hawkins speed kills. He's talking about Javian Hawkins, that is. So yeah, he's a guy that could be real interesting. I mean, that running back room has some interest to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it's not defined, and it definitely has some interest in it, from Quadre Olison to Mike Davis, Cordell Patterson. I ain't gonna forget him this time. Cordell Patterson, Javian Hawkins. Like I'm interested to see how that plays out as well. Big Rise Music, aka Toby D, says, "Sorry guys." He said, "Great show. Y'all know I'm on that JTM train." Of course, yes. I think we all are here on Pound for Pound, and that's all right, Toby. We're gonna get this schedule thing worked out and make sure we can get you in here. And he also told us don't be hating on Josh Andrews. I'm gonna hate on Josh Andrews right now. Look, you go look up his blown blocks from last year. Like, his blown blocks are right up there with James Carpenter. Okay, and
God.
Right? No, it's like he's gonna have to show me something, because right now, what I have seen, I'm not super hyped on. So.
No, wait. Let me get in now first. Toby D knocked on the hornet's nest. We gotta get ready for and James Carpenter was a turnstile, by the way. And I said that, got that out of the way. But camp, I put this out on Twitter. I said this is one of the most important camps in Atlanta Falcon history, in the history of the organization. That's how I feel about this camp with this new regime, what you inheriting and what you bringing in. A lot of stuff is going to change in a small amount of time once we get to see who is who. Now, Josh Andrews, now, if you was a turnstile like James Carpenter, bud, you finna have a long camp, bud. I hope you're really working on whatever you need to be working on. Toby D in your corner. But if you ain't working, you're finna have a long camp, and it's finna be a long camp for him.
Okay.
We're going to find out, because
right,
James Carpenter was horrible.
I got it pulled up right here.
Go ahead, tell what you got,
in 2020, he had a total snaps of 298, and he had 11 blown blocks in 298 snaps, which doesn't sound like a lot until you go look at somebody like James Carpenter, who we know is a turnstile, who had the same. Okay, he had 8 blown pass blocks and 3 blown pass rushing blocks. So no.
And just real quick, at Big Rise Music, aka my boy Toby D, prove to me with stats and data and analytics that Josh Andrews is not at Gano in a suit, and when they unzip him, you know how do. But it's really this person, and it's really Matt Gano. He's really not her. He's really Josh Andrews. And then anyway, I'm sorry.
Whenever your name is mentioned with James Carpenter, you in trouble. I'm sorry, you are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. I wish Toby was on here with us so we could have this conversation, because he might be on an island over there. But anyway, all right. So we're gonna keep right on rocking. Lionel Steffen says, I feel a lot of people are sleeping on Kyle Pitts and Richie Grant, especially Pitts. Yes, he's no Julio, but the man is special and literally an offensive weapon. Yeah, I think, but you don't want to hang too much on a rookie. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing, and which I don't blame them, right? I'm not trying to hang my whole offense on a rookie year one, so to speak. Yes, I want to give him every chance to succeed, and I'm going to try to, feed him as much as possible, but I'm not trying to right out the rip make him the center point, so I think that maybe that's why people are kind of sleeping a little bit. And I'm really excited about Richie Grant to finally hopefully have a high caliber safety back there. Dude, I am excited about Richie Grant. So we're gonna go ahead.
Real quick, when you say Richie Grant, when you say back there, are you seeing him at free safety? Are you seeing him at strong safety? Or are you seeing him as one of them hybrids who can come up and be another blitzer, who can provide more of a security blanket and make that line of scrimmage?
Yes, all of it.
The hooks.
All of it.
Yeah, okay, because look, in that research that I've been doing about Dean Pease, like his safeties are interchangeable. Like where he plays
There you
them.
go.
And you have him with Deron Harmon, who Deron Harmon can play deep, can play up close. You know, these guys are versatile in their abilities. So yeah, I am. When you ask where I see Richie Grant, honestly, I'll go ahead and call it. I see him closer to the line, like intermediate, closer to the line. I see Harmon being further back because he has a little bit more experience. But yes, I see Richie Grant all over the field. In the secondaries is how I see him.
And we got safety depth too. That's another thing to focus on. This is the first year we got safety depth. Jalen Hawkins, hey, still might be a role. Eric Harris.
Eric Harris, yep.
Played a lot of. Yeah, we got depth there.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep right on rocking here. It says King J118 says, yeah, we definitely left a lot of points out there last year with who calling the plays. Exactly. Our good buddy Adam, who we were mentioning earlier, he has joined us in chat. He said, "What's up, Jimbo?" He gives you a big shout out.
What's up, Adam?
And he's one of the main ones that I've been seeing beating the drum for Olivier Vernon. And he's the one that actually made me realize that Vernon was still out there on the market. So yeah, if we can bring somebody like a Vernon in, that would be great.
Yeah, it would.
Ghost Pepper says, Dirk Tecmo Bowl playbook cutter, oh Lord, was focused on running his game plan. He never looked at the Falcons on the field. On his eyes may have been on them, but he's never accepted reality. Yeah, yeah.
Boy, listen, that it's gone that people have not reconciled.
You talk about leaving a bad taste in somebody's mouth.
Boy, Dirk,
boy.
Yeah. Don't come in no time. So stay in Boise, baby.
That's it. Joshua Mulaney says, "Where's Toby D?" He's got a long drive now from work to his home. So, like I said, we might be adjusting show times. So we'll let y'all know if we decide to do that. Tasman TV says, "What's up, JR, Mike, and Jimmy? What's going on, Taz? I'm glad you decided to join us." He said he almost missed the show. He said just got out of the shower. That's all right, man. This stuff's archived. You can go back and watch it. It's awesome. I love how YouTube works in that aspect. Adam Holloway says, Michael Walker currently working as a 3-4 edge at his practice facility. So this is why I get in with Adam. He pays attention to all these little nuanced stuff that I miss. He says, working with Rashawn Gray currently too, something to monitor. Walker was working with inside linebackers at OTAs. That's what I'm saying. Like, that versatility that Walker has showed, he showed in college. I think now with this coaching staff, I think he's going to get a chance to really exploit like the different things that he can do and the different things that he can bring to the table. So he's a guy who Go ahead.
Because Michael Walker got speed, and we cannot forget. And when you got that speed on defense, you can be moved around and played in multiple positions at any time of the game. So that's a good job, Adam, watching out on that, because with DP, what man?
Absolutely. And he packs a punch too. If he hits you, he's gonna hit you too, sure. So I'd love to see that.
Right.
Yep. And I mean, he was graded out as one of the top 3 defensive rookies last year. Adam, Jamie, Adam asking you, was Jimbo talking about Savine Banks on Twitter earlier? You put up a picture about somebody to watch.
Yeah. Man, Adam, we're gonna have an off season with these college players, especially in the secondary. I know you like Stingley out of LSU, but I'm telling you, this guy at Ohio State I've been watching, man. Number 7 for Ohio State is a true defensive back. The guy is nasty. But I'm gonna get back with you on that, Adam. I'm gonna be coming at you daily. Do not worry about it. I know exactly what you're talking about. But that's the guy I'm talking about. Man, keep your eye on him.
And Adam, I'm coming to you about that Michael Walker 3-4 stuff. If I gotta send you a bottle of maple syrup, you know what I mean, I will. Adam, I know you asked me because I know you got a certain kind of way. Go in the comments now too, because I said poutine the other show, and I talked about maple syrup this time, but it's all love. So anyway, JR, go ahead before Adam.
Now, I was trying to see if I could pull up. Back when Walker got drafted, there was a graphic that I saved it on my old computer. that I don't have access to anymore. But it showed like where he took snaps at. I may try to dig that up before I do the video on the 4.25. But like his snaps for Fresno was like all over the place, and like his versatility, I think is especially with a Dean Pease as the head coach, not head coach, defensive coordinator rather. I think he has a chance to really start to shine, because if there's one thing, like I said, doing this research that I've been doing, like talking with guys like Adam and other guys, the word that comes to mind with Dean Pease is versatile. Like that's what, and we've heard that before, from different coaches. Oh, we want to be versatile. We want to be multiple. But Dean Pease has the proof. You see what I'm saying? Like he's done it, right? He's done it in Baltimore. He's done it in New England. He's done it in Tennessee. Like he's not just talking about it. Like he's putting it out there. He's putting it on tape. Like I have, photos of like formations from Baltimore that you can then see him used in Tennessee, and also like listening to some of the stuff that as far as like some of the podcasts, like he's talking about bringing out stuff from like his college days to confuse Lamar Jackson, when they played him.
Bring it on, yeah.
Right. So like that kind of stuff really gets me excited about this coaching staff. Like this coaching staff makes me feel like what I thought we were getting with Quinn, what we had in the early days with Mike Smith, but he lost his way, so to speak. But I feel like we're finally getting a coaching staff that knows how to adjust and adapt and attack your weaknesses. And that's what I'm excited about.
Maybe this is the psychological side of me, but I actually like a coach that's a little bit more of an introvert that just is all about football, and he's not going to say a lot. He's not going to wow you. But you've noticed a lot of the great coaches in the NFL, especially over the last 5 years, they don't need to do all of that. They just need to run their team, have a system, establish a culture, get everybody to buy in, and see where it falls. I actually like this type of football because I remember, as all of us that mostly watch this stuff, we played teams like this that we'll just run through those guys, but they coach good enough that the players are in position. They're tough to beat. They're not going to beat themselves. Matter of fact, if you're not on your job, you're going to be down 22-3 trying to dig yourself out of a hole.
Yep.
So again, I like that because, again, we can sit back and really look at this team a little bit more objectively. Because with Dan Quinn, we felt great. Listen, we're still burned out. Let's be real. We're all still burned out collectively, Falcons Nation, from Dan Quinn, Dirk Cutter, because we hope for years. Listen, the Mondays that we can't get back for the last 4 years, 5 years, are numerous, right? We can't get that time back. But I will say this. When it's this year, like you said, your point, JR, like, we don't need to have a lot of expectations, but we do need to watch this team with an eye of, what we got. And that's why it's going to be fun. I think so, yeah, right. This is going to be one of the most important camps in a long time.
Yeah.
Maurice Amy says, I know this is a little bit off subject, but can you rate the fan base of the Atlanta Falcons in comparison to the rest of the league? Now, what had me thinking, okay, one reason why I took this question, obviously, because, you put it out there, so I'm going to talk about it. But it got me looking at it. This is a random Wednesday in the middle of the summer when quite literally nothing going on football-wise, and there's 86 of y'all in here talking about it. You see what I'm saying? Like, look, I think Atlanta gets a bad rap, and because it is such a, melting pot city, but there is a strong core of fans here. There is a strong, very strong core. Now, look, if the team is doing good, the bandwagon gets full, and that's fine. We enjoy the bandwagon, right? But I mean, just to look at, like I said, look at our chats on a weekly basis. You know, Jimmy, you out in like Denver, we got guys like all over the country who chime in and watch us. The core, I mean, Adam himself is from Canada. We give him a hard time, but he's a Canadian who has decided to root for the Falcons. I don't know. I don't know what that says about him, but at least I had the excuse of living here, you know. No, it's dead up. I mean, you got guys like Mr. CDX for life. He says, "What's up, fellas? It's been working. First show in months. Rise up." See,
man, right.
And it's great. Same thing with King 7. King 7, he loves to absolutely kill almost every positive thing I try to say about this team, but he's here, right? He's here.
Right,
he's talking about this team. He's rooting for this team. So that's the part that makes me smile. I mean, you got James C. who just says, I'm in Maryland. You got Sports 789 says, rise up from Wisconsin. Okay? Like, he could be rooting for Green Bay. Like, he could be rooting for Aaron Rodgers right now, living up in Titletown. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Aaron Rodgers.
So,
nobody in Green Bay is rooting.
You know, so, I mean, that's the thing, though. It's, you know, the core, the people who show up, you know, is a strong, loyal fan base. You know, whether it was the Mike Vick experience that got you in here or you've been here for, you know, since 66, it don't matter why you here, but you here, right? And that's the part that makes me, that makes me smile, as far as interacting with this fan base. It's the reason why we do it. You know, it's the reason why we've been doing it and why we will keep doing it.
Right.
You know, you got Tasman who's up in Indianapolis, and, you know, I'm seeing Pittsburgh pop up. You know, we got a West Coast Falcons fan. I mean,
man,
it's like
our city's out, man.
Right. You know, it's, exactly. Throw them in there. You know, we got Joshua who's up in New York. I mean, these, like, it's spread out, but that's what makes football awesome, and that's what makes football amazing. And to me, that's what makes this fan base amazing. You know, like I said, we get, you know, crapped on a lot as far as being considered fair weather fans or, you know, what have you, but it's I think it's a stronger fan base than we get credit for.
Absolutely. Jimbo, you have something? Because I got something too.
Yeah. I want to agree with JR on that. They want to give us a bad rap because when we do it, we make it look really, really good. Being an Atlanta Falcons fan and cheering for our team, when we win it and when we do our thing, we make it look better than anybody else. So they're really afraid to let us be a good team, because if they let us be a good team, they know they're not going to be able to hold this fan base down, because we're gonna make sure you know. And whatever we do as an Atlanta Falcon fan, we make it look really, really good, and they envy that. It's just a thing the kids call now the swag. We got that swag to be a great NFL fan base. So they put that stereotype and that stigma on us like we're a bad fan base and we don't really care about our team, to suppress how good we is and how good we make it look being a fan of an NFL team, good or bad. And that core is there. And I hate that stigma is on our fan base, because we got some great fans, man. Go ahead, Mike.
And I'm going to tell you like this. Our fan base is just like this, collectively. Julio Jones said, I want out of Atlanta. We all hurt. It hurt. It sucked. National TV, having your star, all of that type of stuff. We all hurt. But guess what? Most of us, the fans that they talk about, we woke up the next day and said, you know what? Respect Julio. Enjoy Nashville. Show where you got to go. You don't want to be here? Guess what? What we're going to do is always be here. Because you know why? We the people filling up the tailgates. We the people walking into the stadium. We the people going to the bars. We the people taking this game to work with us. You know? So, listen. One thing about this fan base that the Hawks have put on notice, the United has put the cherry on top on. When this city gets to winning, all these other people that are next saying, just write their names down. Matter of fact, Falcons fans, do me a favor. Keep a notepad with you. All the people that's talking right now when we're not good. When we good, find these same people and make sure you give it to them, because they're going to do it to us. Because 28-3, you know, Dirk Cutter left and Dan Quinn left. 28-3 left for me. It's still there, but it left.
Right.
That stigma is gone. And I'm on this Arthur Smith Dean Pease thing. And on my last rant, I'm going to pat my head because I'm feeling like a pastor right now. Think about it like this. Is this going to be a team that wants to rebuild? You think how many 71-year-old men y'all know? Do you think they patient enough for a rebuild? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let Dean Pease cook. See what this man got. See what he can put. See if we can get blizzards from multiple ways. And again, JR, I'm gonna bring it back to you and rise up because I'm about to get fired up. And I said I wasn't gonna do it.
King7 says, quick question. He said, is there any way or anytime soon you guys thinking about having us call in and ask questions or have a quick chat? Any thoughts on that setup? I've looked into that setup before, and it seems like, all right, I'm gonna put it to you like this, and I know it's gonna sound crazy, but it seems like I'd have to give out like a little bit too much of like personal information, like, you know, to be able to put all that in play. But that's why I really encourage the Ask Jimbo segment, you know, that he does. I really enjoy that. I really think that if y'all get, you know, fire off those questions and be in chat with us, you know, you put your questions down, we read them. You know, that's just that's how it works. But if I ever figure out a good way to do a call in, I may do so. But every way I've seen so far, just has me having to give out information that I'm not super comfortable with. But I am on a little bit of a paranoid sort. But all right, we were bumped up over an hour, so I'm gonna bang through a few more of these questions. So if y'all got anything that y'all were chat wise that y'all were holding back, go ahead and fire them off so we can get through this here. Let's see. Fred Butts says, I'm from a small town in Milledgeville, Georgia. Yes, sir. Milledgeville, we like it. Floyd is in New York. Ghost Pepper says, Pease reminds me of Phillips, and I'm assuming he's talking about Wade Phillips. The way they have a way of scheming and play calling themselves into at least a competent defense, much like a great OC can scheme his way around average talent. That's, you know, to me, that's where coaching comes in, right?
Oh yeah.
Toby D says, I love my Falcons, win or lose, and shout out to all from all over in here with the Pound for Pound family tonight. That's right. I mean, at the end of the day, we appreciate y'all deciding to join us, right? We say it every show, and I'll continue to say it every show. We do it because y'all show up.
That's right.
You know?
Right up.
Dexter Vallis says, get fired up, my boy. We are here for it. That's right. That's right. We are. I just gotta pat that brow. Latoya Gooden says, rise up from Hampton, Georgia. There you go. King J118 is out there in Conyers. Fred Bus says, Terry already said rebuild isn't an option. Not really. You know, not right now. I mean, I hate to be so blunt about it, but as long as Matt Ryan's on the team, rebuild is not an option. As long as you're having to pay him, you might as well try to win it. Let's see. Tasman says, what was y'all's reaction on the Mingo news? He missed it from earlier. So we'll give a quick recap on the Mingo thing. We figured out what Mingo things are, and we're glad Mingo is no longer on the team. So
there you go.
Exactly. That's how we feel about that.
Corporate answer. We are committed to the players that are on the Atlanta Falcons. Those players that are on the Atlanta Falcons.
Right. We are committed to those players. Tony Wright says Atlanta Falcons have 42% of our fan base that actually know football, but the other 58% of the fan base are idiots. Oh, come on, Tony. People are idiots.
Hey, watch out now.
He said all I care about is hating our quarterback and loving Vic. That's fine, you know.
Sorry,
if that's what Vic, you know. Hey,
with a K. Yes, some people like to say Michael Vick's is Vic with a K. Sorry, continue.
All right, a few more. We're going to wrap this up. Marie says, I haven't lived in Atlanta for quite some time, so most of my, because all of my information comes from fans on Facebook, and all I see is negativity. Yeah, people like to be negative when they don't have to put a face to it. All right. Wound Carter says, great rant, Big Mike, classic moment. So, all right, well, that's it, my friends.
Yeah.
We have bumped up well over an hour now. We appreciate y'all joining us. Appreciate y'all being here with us.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128. That's GRIMM1128. Jimmy?
You can catch me on Twitter at Jimmy Obama, JIMMYOBAMA. Get at me.
Mike?
Follow your boy, man. Mike _DUB. Always love, man. We appreciate y'all everywhere, man. Worldwide, tapping in. Keep tapping in, man.
That's
JR,
right.
send them home, baby.
All right, yeah. If y'all want extra content, check us out on Patreon. Subscribe there if you want it. If not, hey, that's cool. We're just glad you're here. And keep an eye on the channel. Like I said, I got a video coming out this week, diving in deeper into the 4-2-5 defense that we're going to be running. And as always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Rise up.